So, David, we had a wonderful session yesterday. Thank you for giving us your time yesterday. We just finished with Dr. Steve. He came on a little bit earlier to address the crowd about ozone, the Rothschilds, banking, 9/11 truth. So we went into that a little bit. We've been getting a bunch of questions in the audience really about the Sesta QV Trust. We've gone into it in the mastermind and how to, let's say, claim that, how to do some of those Social Security hearings, what the steps are. We do have a document there that are the steps to it. Would you be able to go into that at all today, David? Because I think a lot of our audience is really gung-ho to hear about it. I'm gonna step away for a little bit. I'm gonna let you run with it. We're gonna put you on the big screen. So everybody in the audience, please give David a big welcome. And
thank you, everybody. In talking about the Sesta QV, and I'm just sitting outside on a beautiful morning on a back porch. That's just a fabulous place to relax. And but I want to talk to you about the Sesta QV. This was created in England. It was created in 1666, right after the London fires, as a way for the city of London to rebuild. They took the people of England and they started beginning to register their births and taking that responsibility away from the churches to keep the records. And taking it away from the churches, they took it out of the hand of God and gave it to the state. And then they created a bond system on the registrations of the birth and traded on those bonds. And the trading on those bonds worldwide is what raised the money for the government to rebuild the city of London from the Great Fires. England continued with that practice, and they spread it, of course, to their neighboring sister countries like Wales and Ireland and Scotland. And then it started to spread to Northern Europe, the Netherlands, Sweden, and eventually it just spread around the world. It spread to the United States, but not for 300 years. It was 1933, almost 300 years later, that it spread to the United States. Now, when the state takes over a registrar, they're giving it a flag. They're claiming it. When they give these entities, these personas, that's the person, that's the all caps name. They're giving that a flag. They're creating an entity that is, because we are the signatory officers. And I'm going to back up just a second here and talk to you a little bit about the Law of Nations by Vattel. The way nations are truly set up is through trust. If there is a government of a nation, they're in trust for the beneficiaries, which is the people. It is a trust, it's a fiduciary relationship. It is supposed to be to look out for the best interest of the beneficiaries. That's how nations are all set up, as a social compact. Now, in saying that, the Sesta QV Trust, we are the co-trustees, the co-beneficiaries, and the only signatory officers of that trust. Now, that came out in early court case records, and you can look up some of those old records to see where I've gotten that. And I've used that for 30 plus years, well, since about 1990. I've used that to teach with, that we are the co-trustees, the co-beneficiaries, and the only signatory officers. Well, what's that mean? It means that our signature accesses the trust. It's the only way to access the trust. The courts, they'll get our signature on something, on some document, claiming jurisdiction, access our trust, create a bond in our name, using our Social Security number, which is one of the savings accounts of the bank. Literally, this is where CUSIP numbers come from. CUSIP numbers that are assigned to everything we do. Everything creates a bond. All those bonds are in our name. They go into our trust. They're traded on by Wall Street with the federal government, and that creates a profit system for the states. But it also creates a profit system for us. They do the same thing in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and virtually every country in the world has a system like this. And it looks like the sun's going to come out and just destroy where I'm sitting. We had this great little tiny thin layer of clouds which was blocking the sun. There it goes. Okay, not so bright now. Anyway, and these trusts build and build and build. Now, various years, and you can look back at old seminars I've done, we were worth a certain amount at birth. That's what we were initially bonded for. But it was initially bonded for based upon investment rates, so that when we turned 18 and we became an adult on our 18th birthday, that account system of our birth would be worth a minimum guarantee of $100 million at age 18. 100 million minimum guarantee. So in the 1960s, when I was bonded for $630,000 and insured for $1 million. That $630,000, they knew that through the growth through the 60s and the 70s, the 80s, until I turned 18 years old, would grow to $100 million minimum. This is their investment program. And with this investment program, you have to understand that they have use and control of it every time we give a signature. So every time we write a check, every time we register something, they can create a bond. We're giving them our permission. And they don't just always do it once. The permission comes in various forms according to legislation. And it's usually backdoor legislation, what I call off-book legislation. For instance, if you register your car, it's a $10,000 bond. Every year that car is registered, it's a $10,000 bond. You're giving them permission to create that.